Jake.
This is a very familiar place.
Yes, it is. Welcome back, everybody, to yet another episode of ROC Movie Reviews. In our last episode, I believe we talked about...
Didn't we talk about the It movies?
No, I think that was actually earlier. I think our last reviews were either Cabin in the Woods, Bad Times at the El Royale, or...
they were.
What were the other two we did with that? I'm trying to remember. Oh, God. I can't... The Shining and Dr. Sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, most likely that was our last review that was posted. So, if you haven't already guessed from the thumbnail, we're talking about another horror film. We're officially into October.
Oh, yeah.
So, this whole month is going to be all about the horror genre.
Definitely.
And we're kicking it off with... arguably, probably the best horror film of 2017, would you say?
Yep.
You would agree 100%.
Oh, yeah.
And if you haven't guessed by the thumbnail, today we are talking about the film that surprised everybody back in February of 2017, Jordan Peele's Get Out.
Sink into the floor.
Wait.
Sink.
Mom, it's a terrible thing to waste. Terrible thing to waste. If there's too many white people, I get nervous.
No.
Mom, it's a terrible thing to waste.
Alrighty. So, I remember that you actually saw this in the theaters, didn't you?
Yes, and you didn't.
I did not. No, I still
missed out on a lot.
I still regret missing out on it to this day, because then you had me get it when it came out, and I watched it, and I was like, dude.
Yep.
Dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then I understood what all the hype was about, and I got my parents to watch it, obviously got other family members to watch it, and the word of this movie, even when it first came out, it's like spread like wildfire.
Oh, yeah.
People, I remember seeing...
I think people thought it was going to be like just this stereotypical horror film, like stereotypical murders and stuff.
Yeah.
But this actually sets itself apart from other horror films because it does have certain like messages in there without having that be like the main theme of the movie.
Yeah, it doesn't beat you over the head with its social and racial commentary.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really, like you said, sets this apart from other horror movies. It's smart, it knows the message it wants to send, but it's not banging you over the head with it.
Yeah.
And it still manages to tell this really interesting, really suspenseful story while also adding that racial and social commentary.
Definitely.
And I think that's where it succeeds greatly. Jordan Peele, prior to watching this, I obviously known of him as Key and Peele, Comedy Central, but I had no idea he had this kind of like talent, or that he even had this movie in him. Honestly, I was blown away when I first watched this.
Not to mention the budget was only $4 million and it made like $175 million.
Yeah, it made serious bank, and this is considered to be a psychological thriller horror film. And those movies, even Blumhouse produced movies like that, don't usually make that much money. But it helps that they're on really low budgets. They're on very small budgets so that they can make their money back.
Oh, yeah.
With just even if it, like, the movies succeed usually, but this one, I mean, this triumph, this really set a benchmark for horror.
It also won an Oscar and got some other Oscar noms.
That's right, yes. And again, and that other thing, the fact that you said it got nominated and actually won a couple of Oscars. When do horror movies ever win Oscars?
Like never.
Right, that's my point. So this, very, very much like how Black Panther for the superhero genre was nominated for 3 Oscars, a couple years later. I think the cultural impact of this movie is similar to that of Black Panther for the horror genre, because people realized how important it was and that Peele was really trying to say something. Yeah. And it didn't just feel like another run-of-the-mill horror movie where it was like throwaway. Yeah. There is nothing throwaway about this movie.
No.
From the production design to the acting to just the way that the suspense creeps up on you. I won't say this is I don't think it's a scary movie, per se. Not for me, at least. I think it's suspenseful. I think it's weird and unsettling.
It's definitely got some comedy thrown into it,
But
which
it's
I
got
think helps.
yeah, it's got some serious comedy thrown in by a certain character, which we'll talk about in characters. But the blend of the horror, the psychological thriller, but then also the comedy, it just worked way better than I thought it would, and it ended up being an experience that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I mean, you had said so many good things about it that when I finally watched it, I was anticipating it to be good. But when I was done watching it, I was like, this isn't just good, this is great. So, yes, you saw it in the theaters, I did not. We've both seen it now. I've seen it probably 5 or 6 times now, actually, since it came out.
Same here.
Roughly.
And I was also having it being a contender for my favorite movie of 17, but Dunkirk just beat it out.
Yeah, I think Dunkirk's still probably my favorite film of 2017. I'd have to think about that. But, yeah, so with Jordan Peele coming in the director's chair for the first time, sometimes you just have a director that knows exactly what they want to say and what they're doing and knocks it out of the park with their first feature.
Oh, yeah.
And this was the case with that. And we'll talk about another horror movie with another first-time director later on in a different episode that has similarities. But for this film, I'm going to just jump right into the plot real quick, because I think we've gushed about it enough. Would you say?
Yeah.
A young African-American visits his white girlfriend's parents for the weekend, where his simmering uneasiness about the reception of him eventually reaches a boiling point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good description of the plot. I mean, I don't think it's... you could probably summarize this movie in many different ways.
Yeah.
But non-spoilery, that's probably the best way to talk about it, I would say.
Definitely.
So, overall, you have this guy going to his girlfriend, who's white, his girlfriend's parents' house, and there's already uneasiness because he's black.
Yeah.
And they are white, and he does not know that they don't know that he is black. So there's already that social and racial kind of those themes already at play in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Right? And as the movie progresses, things become more clear, and certain weird, strange occurrences happen, and it all reaches this crescendo of
how the family kind of reacts to him as far as conversations and stuff.
Yeah, it's both really smart and it's also really quirky, because it's like they're trying to make him feel welcome, but at the same time they're overdoing it.
Yeah.
So in turn, it's making him feel even more uncomfortable, and that in and of itself is its own commentary on new house guests or whatever that you're not feeling super comfortable about. So it's like, overdo it to make them feel overly comfortable. That doesn't work though.
It doesn't.
No, it really doesn't. But it's funny to watch them try, because it adds to our uneasiness and our uncomfortableness that Chris, the main character, is feeling.
Yeah. And
that leads me into the cast. I had seen Daniel Kaluuya in other films prior to this, but this was the one where I was really like, he's an actor to watch. He was excellent in this movie.
Oh yeah, I agree.
He was so good. So yeah, Kaluuya plays Chris Washington. His girlfriend, Rose Armitage, played by Allison Williams. Unlike Kaluuya, had never seen this chick before. Yeah. She was great.
Yep.
She was really good. I love how she was able to switch from supporting, innocent girlfriend to stone cold kidnapper murder. I'm like, my god. I mean, the scene where she's sitting down and she's eating Fruit Loops, and she has the Fruit Loops.
Yeah, which, I mean, there's another scene that happens before that.
Yeah.
Where Chris actually kills the dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and all of a sudden everything's on fire, which I don't know how happened.
It knocked over a couple candles after he killed the dad. Yeah.
And yet, she couldn't hear that, but yet she could hear Chris running over someone.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I suppose if we had small little gripes, there's a couple of nitpicky little things.
Yeah.
But she had her headphones in. Maybe she wasn't. For the sake of the plot, it wasn't that big of a deal. But I mean, what are you gonna do? That's what they did with the movie. So every movie has inconsistencies,
especially horror movies.
But I mean, as far as this one goes, I don't think it has nearly as many as others do.
No.
There's ones that you can literally pick apart, where you could stick holes in the plot and be like, plot hole, plot hole, plot hole, plot hole. This is not one of those movies, thankfully. But the nitpicks are there, as they are with any movie.
Yep.
But regardless, Catherine Keener, excellent actress in general, plays Missy Armitage, plays the matriarch, the mom. The patriarch, the dad, is played by Bradley Whitford. He plays Dean Armitage. I mean, ever since I saw him in Cabin in the Woods, he's just a great actor. And I genuinely did not recognize him in this movie. I was like, oh my god, that's Bradley Whitford.
He was in Cabin in the Woods?
Yeah, he played one of the technicians, one of the main technicians.
Oh,
his hair was totally different, and he was with Richard Jenkins, the guy with the glasses. Yeah, that was him, same guy. I told you, he changes his appearance.
Yeah.
He was completely gray in this movie with glasses. In Cabin in the Woods, he had no glasses, and he actually had colored hair.
Wow.
So, anyways, getting into the nitpicks here, but Caleb Landry Jones, I've seen him in many things since then. He played the really messed up brother.
Yeah.
Jeremy Armitage. Whew! He can play really sympathetic characters, and he can play really awful characters, like just slimy, gross, grotesque. Ugh. Marcus Henderson plays Walter. He's the groundskeeper of this family. This is the only thing I've seen this actor in, but I gotta tell you, he left an impact.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he was really unnerving. Same thing can be said about Betty Gabriel, who played Georgina. She was even more unnerving. She was the maid, I think, right?
Yep.
Well, they didn't call her a maid. She was
like a servant.
Yeah, more or less. And of course, Lakeith Stanfield plays Andre Logan King. He's the first guy that tells Chris to, like, get out.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, that was the first time I came across Lakeith Stanfield. He's gone on to make even better films since then, but he stood out to me. Just a couple more. Stephen Root played Jim Hudson. He was the guy that Chris's brain was going to be implanted into. Character actor, great stuff, even though he only has 2 scenes in the movie. And last but not least, the comic relief of this movie that works
probably my favorite character in the movie.
Wow. Probably my favorite right behind Chris, or maybe Chris is my second favorite, I'm not sure. Lil Rel Howery as Rod Williams.
Yes.
His friend who is a TSA agent. Oh my God, was he such a nice surprise. I mean, not only did all of his dialogue work, but all of his jokes were genuine. They hit. They had me laughing. His joke at the end where he rescues Chris, and he's like, I'm TSA, mother effer. He's like, we handle shit.
It's what we do.
It's what we do. And I love the line when Chris first gets in the car, and he's like, looking at him, kind of looking back at his girlfriend who's laying there dead on the street.
I mean, I told you not to go in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were onto something.
It was just perfect timing of that line, and Chris is just sitting there like, really, dude? Yeah. But it works.
I've been through so much you don't even know.
Yeah, it worked so well. I'm really glad that this is the actual ending of Get Out, because I don't know if you've seen, but there's an alternate ending.
I did see the alternate ending, and it sucks.
It sucks. It really does. I understand why they did it, but by far, in a way, the alternate ending is not superior to the original theatrical ending. That is the one they should have kept.
In a situation like that, you want to see Chris, go home safe.
Which is more realistic? Probably the alternate ending as far as, like, being in the real world, unfortunately. And I get why they shot that alternate ending, but for the purposes of the movie and its story and satisfying us as audience members, the theatrical ending is better.
Oh yeah,
much better. And it honestly, it caps off the whole movie. It's perfect. It's got that little weird kind of tribal song playing at the end credits or whatever. Yeah. It just wraps everything up beautifully, and I love the way this movie ends.
Definitely.
Really, and just the movie as a whole. 1 hour and 44 minutes, never overstays its welcome, never gets boring. It's
very well paced.
It's very well paced, funny, unnerving, just quirky and strange at times.
Yeah.
And then in the end, where we get some seriously brutal violence,
Oh yeah.
it's so satisfying, though.
Especially that scene where he's fighting the mother, like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, what he does to the dad, what he does to the mom, and then what he does to the brother smashes his head in. It's just like, oh, man. And then you think he's going to get, caught by his girlfriend. But obviously things happen, and that was a great twist as well. The whole how the camera flash can actually turn the people back to. Again, that was genuinely brilliant, and I was just completely blown away by the whole movie's approach to everything and the characters. It's all just really memorable.
Definitely.
And it's one of my favorite horror films of the last couple of years, and easily of 2017.
Oh, agreed.
Before we score this, I just wanted to touch on the excellent cinematography and the excellent music. So Toby Oliver was the director of photography. This movie looks so good. It really does. He also did Happy Death Day, the Dead to Me series on Netflix, and Netflix's The Dirt, Happy Death Day to You, the sequel, and he also did this year's Fantasy Island, as well as the final Insidious and Breaking In, which was a thriller. So, different films of different varying quality, but they always look good.
Yeah.
So this guy made Toby Oliver, great looking film, no complaints there. Original music was by Michael Abels. Had not heard of this composer. I think this is the only score that I know by him at this point still. I love the music for this movie.
Oh yeah.
It is so good. It's original. It's creepy when it needs to be. It's light and kind of airy when it needs to be. It just hits all of the right notes.
Oh, yeah.
And on that note, since we probably droned on about this a little bit longer than we would have liked, Get Out's a 10 out of 10 from me.
Wow.
I love this film. It gets better every time on rewatch.
Yeah.
It really does.
I will rate this movie a 9.
Oh, okay, fair enough. You hold that coveted 10 out of 10 spot for the amazing masterpiece.
Yeah.
I get it. So that's our review of Jordan Peele's Get Out. If for some reason you're one of the people who didn't see it when it came out, or even when it came out on DVD, go seek it out. I think this appeals to the mainstream audience just as much as it does to horror fans.
Oh yeah.
It does. It's very accessible, and I think Peele did a great job of making it feel so. What's the word? Inclusive, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what we need. It's like very it brings the variety in horror films.
It really does, and it works as a psychological thriller, a horror comedy, a comedy in general, and kind of a family drama actually as well.
Really?
In some regards.
I wouldn't consider it family drama.
Not in unconventional family drama or a family satire. It's more like, okay, a satire, fine. So 9 out of 10 from Jake, 10 out of 10 from me. Highly recommend Get Out. That's our review of it. We will be back very soon to talk about Peele's second sophomore effort, Us. And until then, have a good one.
All right, see ya.